Hello, this is Sean Cook from Cook Coaching and Consulting in Athens, Georgia, publisher of HigherEdCareerCoach.com. Wanted to take a few minutes today to talk to you about how a typical coaching process works. And you can find this presentation online at Prezi.com, Prezi.com. It's called Mind Mapping Your Successful Career, and I also link to it from my homepage. I developed this particular Prezi when I was talking about mind mapping your job search. I had a guest, Mark Dykman from Thought Wrestling, which is a popular blog, about getting your thoughts organized, getting through blocks in your thinking. And I wanted to make a mind map to kind of show the coaching process. And I do think that when we're talking about career coaching, mind mapping is a good way to look at it. So here we go. A little bit about mind mapping your job search. Okay. Alright, the first step in the coaching process, or the first phase, is self-exploration. And when we get into this phase, we start from what you value. Everyone has values, things that they hold as important in their life and their career. And it's important to examine these and to put them out on the table as you look at different options. What do you enjoy doing? The premise here is that if you enjoy doing something, you'll be more satisfied with it. So finding ways to put things that you enjoy into your life and career plan is very important. What are you good at? Now, this is it's related, but it's a little bit different than the things that bring you joy, because you can be good at some things that you don't really enjoy. And a lot of times people say, oh, you're so good at that, you ought to do that. And oftentimes we do. We do what our parents tell us we're good at. We do what our friends and our teachers tell us we're good at. But we need to relate that to those things which we enjoy. So in the exploration process, we kind of compare and contrast some of that. Now, the next step is to identify what's blocking you. There are many things that can get in our way. The first would be physical blocks. If you're talking about achieving a certain physical task, what if you're not strong enough, physically strong enough to do a certain thing, like run a mile, lift weights, pick something up and carry it across the room. Physical blocks are real, and you have to find ways to work around them. This is important no matter who you are. You don't have to be someone training to be an athlete. You don't have to be someone who has a severe disability. We all deal with physical limitations, so we need to acknowledge them and make sure that we have a realistic picture of what we are physically able to do. Emotional and psychological blocks are some of the most devastating things to try to work around, but it's incredibly important that we do. So knowing how you feel about something, or knowing certain feelings that come up when you have to do a certain thing, or when you think about trying to accomplish something. Your emotions can get in the way. And sometimes we even push down our thoughts and our feelings, and we sublimate them, and it makes things worse. So part of the coaching process is bringing these emotional and psychological blocks to the forefront, putting them on the table, looking at them. Because if they're in your way, we need to figure out a way around them, a way over them, or a way through them. And then there's another type of blocks, and this I just call circumstantial blocks. It's a concept that I kind of derived on my own that's a little bit of a sidestep from the way that the life purpose process of coaching is written. But I do think that just beyond, our physical limitations, there are times in our lives when certain things just are not possible. Wanting to do certain things and not having enough money to do them. Being in the wrong job, but needing to have a job. These are circumstances, so we can imagine alternative circumstances that would help us achieve our goals. But if we can take a good solid look at what our real circumstances are right now, what we can put up with, what we can work around, then we can deal with those realistically and kind of weigh them, kind of put them into our plan for transition. The next step is to identify options that might interest you. When we're talking about career coaching, this could be career fields, it could be particular companies or institutions, or it could be just available jobs that you see out there. Now, in life coaching, it could be, should I have a relationship with this person? Should I move to this place? Should I write a book? Should I take on this next big project? But when we're talking about options, what's out there in front of you. Then there are many options that people can look into. Sometimes they're realistic, sometimes they're not. There will always be a good mix of that. So what do you do once you have some options in front of you? You really need to see what's possible. Occupational outlook journals and articles in magazines, journals, newspapers, industry publications will tell you what sort of jobs are coming down the pike in the next few years, where the growth areas in the economy seem to be. These are good places to look. You can actually look online at the United States government, I believe it's Department of Labor, keeps records of occupational outlook and publishes articles on their website. Institution and company, annual reports, websites, publications are great places to look to find out what certain people are doing, what different companies are doing within their operations at different locations. So, a good place to look and figure out what possibilities are there would be these company or institutional publications. Another great place to look is professional associations. Now, if you're in local business, this could be the Chamber of Commerce. If you're in an academic role, it could be a faculty association. If you're an administrator, it could be something like NASPA or ACPA, which are the two big organizations for student affairs administrators. Or it could be something even more nuanced in a smaller niche, something like NACE for career coaches, things like that. But associations often have their own job boards, they often have their own journals, and there are also many good ways to meet and network with other people who can tell you what their institutions are hiring for, and just kind of put that all in place. Once you've done your imagining, worked through your blocks, you've explored, you've broken through, you've found some options, you've done some research on possibilities, now it's time to plan. Now, there are several different plans that you need to kind of make. The first is an immediate plan. What are you going to do right now, today, this week, to get where you're going? What can you do to get the ball rolling here? Short-term plans. Now, as we talk about short-term, different people have different definitions of this and what it means to them. So your definition might be very different from the one I put in place for myself. So as a coach, one of the first things I do with someone who wants to create a short-term plan is I ask them what that means to them. Are we talking about a week? Are we talking about a month? Are we talking about this quarter or this year? People move at their own pace, and so does the economy, and so do different sectors of the economy. So it's just important to understand what you mean by short term. And then long term. What does that mean to you? How long do we want to plan? Once you have your plan, the coaching process moves towards an accountability sort of mode. And we spend time revisiting your goals, reviewing your successes and failures to kind of deconstruct them and see what went well, what didn't, how you can adjust your plans. And then we adjust your plans. If you don't have the right skills to put your plan into action, we need to figure out how you can acquire and master new skills. So, figuring out what gaps you have and ways to fill them. This could start as soon as we take a look at positions you're interested in and your current resume. In resume coaching, I spend a lot of time helping clients look at positions they want and compare and contrast the wording and the skill sets and their presentation to what the job posting is asking for, so that we can figure out where they're strong and where there are gaps. If there are gaps, we need to find ways to fill them. Once you start acquiring new skills, you need to find ways to practice them, and you need to find ways to assess them, so that you can put your best foot forward and give an accurate assessment, an accurate presentation to your potential employer about what new skills you have acquired. This also says a lot about your motivation. So in coaching, it's not enough to just find the skills that you need to improve, but to practice improvement and to assess where you're at. And that, my friends, is a basic overview of a life purpose career coaching process. So this is what I typically do with my clients. It starts with a free initial consultation. You can schedule one with me by calling me 706-363-0539, emailing me at sean@higheredcareercoach.com, or visiting my public calendar at tungle.me/Sean Cook. And you can look at my calendar, see some available times, and suggest a couple. And I'd be glad to get together with you and see what I can do to answer any more questions you have about coaching or what you need to do to get started.